parts about FRC this season was the fact that I got to hang out with more friends and meet new people and actually build the robot. That was pretty epic in my opinion.
I feel like we were a lot more organized and we used a lot more technology this season. For instance, we were able to use a CNC mill to machine a majority of all of our parts.
We all as team members kind of came together almost like a family in terms of just the way we kind of cared for each other, the way we helped each other, and I feel like this one was a lot more I guess a lot more lax in terms of just being able to like hang out with each other. It was more like we just came to robotics not only just to complete the robot, but just to have fun and enjoy the company of each other. And I feel like in addition to learning, you know, the engineering process and all that stuff, I feel like we kind of came together as one unit and as one family. And I feel like I got to learn a lot more about my friends and a lot more about my team members than in past years.
My favorite part of the season was definitely watching the Long Beach Regional.
I was able to integrate my skills into almost every part in the robot.
It reminded me of how competitive I was in baseball, and after I stopped baseball I didn't really have anything competitive going on in my life, and this was definitely one of the highlights of my senior year.
That meant drivetrain, the winch system, catapult system, and by doing this I learned many things, and I actually learned what I like to do.
Going to competitions and seeing our robot compared to other robots and just how great our robot was doing the whole entire time.
It showed me how capable I am of working under pressure specifically.
To be very tolerant of many things, tolerant to change, tolerant to criticism. And I think that this is going to be one of the most essential things that I take from this season.
There are a lot of times where things are going to get really hard and you want to give up, but if you just keep going at it, it's really worth the extra work and effort to just get it done.
I got to design a part of the robot, I got to build it and see it perform in a competition. That was awesome, an incredible experience, and putting so many hours into it was well worth it.
I think this year we're a lot more focused. We managed to set ourselves dates. We said, okay, we're going to finish designing the first week, CADing the next week, we'll build the prototype for the next 2 weeks, and then we'll finish off with the final robot in the last 2 weeks.
It's found the FRC season quite stressful at times. The extra hours were hard, and a lot of it was spent just in the milling room watching all the aluminum parts get milled and sitting around waiting for that.
There were many things that you had to rush, like you know, you had to finish the winch or you had to finish the arm in a set of time, and you only were restricted to certain things and certain amount of material. And so it was there were many decisions that had to be made, and that will revolve around the whole people that you had to take charge of. You know, created a lot of pressure.
And so that really allowed us to, as a team, have a clear laid out deadline and know exactly what we want to get done between this date. And we got it done because of that.
We used CNC machines and all this. We were capable of creating something very detailed about the robot, from the most vital things of its gears to the biggest things of its winch and its arms.
This is the first year in the past, like since the start of the team, that we had a plan and we followed it more or less to the plan. And it's kind of, before we always were like, let's just build a robot and then figure out whatever happens after that. And this time we followed the plan, but at some point the plan kind of fell apart and we just kind of did what we usually did, and we all like kind of went in our own teams and, you know, figured it out on our own. But it was a lot more clear and like concise exactly what we were supposed to do this year.
I had the task of making our bumpers, and if any of you FRC people know what bumpers are, you know, they are not the easiest thing in the world to do. You got to figure out how it can fit on the drivetrain, how they can fit around all the different mechanisms and stuff like that, and how you're going to attach the thing to the robot itself. So it can get pretty complicated, and I was put at a slight disadvantage where a couple of my team members were unable to continue in the program. So I was, for a lot of the time, working by myself, I guess, on the bumpers, and so I kind of had to pull people aside that weren't really doing anything to kind of help me along the way.
For those 6 weeks, we're at our FRC like 9 to 5 on Saturday, 9 to 5 on Sunday. Then we're there after school Thursday, after school Friday.
And so it got pretty stressful, I guess, towards the end. But I say it's rewarding because at our first competition at IE Inland Empire, I was talking to Tostado, our program director, and he basically told me that one of the head judges at that competition literally came to our pit and said, "You can tell the quality of the robot by the quality of your bumpers." And he said that our bumpers looked phenomenal, that competition. And so I must say that getting that little anecdote of, compliment, really, I guess, put into perspective the amount of work that I had done and kind of like culminated it. And I was like, okay, this was worth it. I put something together, made it really look nice, made our robot, really functional, really solid. And I feel like just that alone, is multiplied times 10 when you think about all the different components that everyone else has worked on. So although our build season may have been taxing, it may have been stressful, it may have been difficult, it was definitely rewarding seeing the final product.
The final product looked amazing, and all the parts were just how they meant. Only a few holes were out of place. It was all color coordinated. It was put together really well, and that was a huge success and proponent of what everything coming together.
It was definitely rewarding seeing the final product, I guess for all the subsystems, not just mine.
My favorite part about the build season was coming to school every day and seeing the same people and getting really close to everyone around me. Something that doesn't really happen during off season.
Actually successfully shot one of the balls out. I think that was the most things that I feel were really rewarding about build season.
My favorite part of the build season was seeing the robot in person actually shooting for the first time. That was really exciting.
Was working on the two-ball autonomous code, because it was really that point where the programmers on one team and the hardware designers and everyone came together to complete a task that not very many people were able to pull off. And so when we had everyone there and we were able to do something that perfectly pulled off the unity between these two groups that weren't working together before, when that finally clicked, I think that was the best moment where we said, we are a team, we are together.
One word to describe the Inland Empire competition would be fun.
It was just amazing because of the fact that we got to actually travel to a new area, and we got to stay in a hotel, which was pretty cool. And then we got to see how all these different robots from different regions we hadn't seen before actually competed. Like Team 1687, I believe, was super epic. And then seeing how we could improve as a team was really awesome.
The Inland Empire Regional was frustrating. Most of my time was spent trying to program an LED strip onto our driver station. And it seemed like an easy task when I was first given it, but then I realized I needed to learn Arduino code in order to program the strip, and I had to download libraries and a lot of other things, and that took me a long time. But because of my team members, I kept on pushing through.
There was this definite exciting and kind of stressful, tense vibe that was kind of going on, especially when our robot arm broke. It just kind of broke all of our hearts.
It was more of just a lot of the times our robot wasn't connecting, or there was or when the robot broke during one of our matches because of another robot rammed us. It scared me because I felt like, even though we put all this effort into this amazing robot, it was crumbling and freaked me out.
Even though we had a lot of trial and error stuff with our robot, it was kind of almost difficult at times. We got our robot broken, and then many times it would shut off. It was almost like an adventure in that even through that trial and error, even through how bad it seemed at sometimes, we were always learning, and I think learning is fun. I mean, it was good to learn these things because in our future it meant that we would have a more successful robot.
We won the quality award at the Inland Empire, and a lot of this has to do with the fact that we spent so much time into just making our robot beautiful and trying to make sure every part that was working was also very, very nice looking. It wasn't just, haphazardly put together.
We spent so much time powder coating our stuff from the green wheels and making sure all of our metal was anodized, and then making sure we engraved the 4201 on that feeder arm, and it was just beautiful, and then taking out the trusses onto that feeder arm, the bars as well. So in comparison to other robots, and just being our third year and to win that award was pretty epic.
If you looked at our robot, it was a really sexy robot. It was very well built. It looked amazing. So, I mean, I really liked how the robot looked, and I think the fact that we got the quality award, I mean, it's not only a testament to the fact that the robot looked nice, but how the robot performed.
So my favorite part about IE was just hanging out at the hotel rooms with my friends and getting some fun time that we wanted to enjoy after all our hard work. So from playing video games to hanging out in our rooms and talking on the phone and messing with each other and spilling coffee. No, all those good times. I miss.
Was when I finally got the LED strip, the like 6 LEDs to light up on our driver's station. I was very proud of that moment.
It was still a lot of fun. Like this lion mascot would not rest and would keep on dancing, and then other people being spirited, and so that gave it a good vibe.
We weren't really familiar with the area in IE, and the only local place to eat was, I think it was Jack in the Box. And I remembered everyone would just jump with different mentors' cars to try to get to like places like In-N-Out or even Soup Plantation.
Even though the competition was tough, we still had a lot of fun. We got to meet new people, and yeah.
I think at Long Beach we managed to make our mark on the FLC community and say, this is who we are as a team, we are the Vitruvian Bots, and we all actually are forced to be reckoned with now. I think we're one of the most respected teams at Long Beach.
The Long Beach competition was absolutely my favorite part. It reminded me of when I would, I used to be competitive in baseball, and it reminded me of how competitive I was there and how much fun baseball was, and so it sort of brought the competition back into my life.
And so this was the first year where top teams were coming up to us and talking to us. We had a lot of people who last year or the year before we could have even never dreamed of talking to, and they were coming up to us to ask for alliances or ask for questions on how we built our robot.
The fact that we actually got picked from the Second Seed Alliance and actually working with them in the elimination rounds was definitely something that got a lot of us excited, because this has never happened before, and just actually showing to the other teams that we're a solid team was pretty exciting.
At Long Beach, I felt prepared more than anything because we upgraded our robot in all the ways that we thought we were going to. We had a whole schedule planned out for the first day to do exactly what we needed to. The programming was almost completely taken care of except for a few calibration things. A lot of people actually had nothing to do, which is a big difference from IE, where we were all running around trying to figure out what can we fix the robot, how can we fix the programming, what's going on with any of this. But Long Beach we were really prepared.
Whereas at Inland Empire, there was a lot of highs and lows when it came to robot performance. Long Beach was a lot more stable, and being a part of the stand, the whole team cheering the robot on, and when we finally realized that we got to semifinals, it was incredible, and the whole team just screamed, and it was really fun.
Compared to Inland, Long Beach was a bit more, it was definitely a bit more professional. There was a lot less, it was a lot quieter and a lot more competition-based, a lot more focused on winning with your robot and getting the best working robot than you can, more than having the most fun experience that you can.
We worked out a lot of the kinks of the robot from our first competition, and we'd also made a new system for judging other robots, so it was a lot simpler and a lot faster. So a lot of the team actually got to relax and watch our robot play in Long Beach, which was really fun, and there was a lot less stress, which was also cool.
We were able to find a problem that actually plagued us for 2 years before, which was a communication error that caused the robot to just stop working in the middle of competition, and we were actually able to find that, so that was really awesome.
We fixed the problems we had, such as we would lose communication, and seeing that the robot was just working, from like learning from our experiences what we did wrong and fixing it just was really amazing.
We were ranked number 5, and we were doing really well there, but also we kept giving the newbies gifts. We were allowing that for the people who weren't doing as well. We were trying to help them, and that showed there was a lot of people at Long Beach and at Inland who would come up to us, and I had coaches tell me that that's what they wanted our team to be, that they really looked up to us and respected us as a team. And for us to be in our 3rd year and have people start to respect us, I think that's one of our greatest accomplishments.
One of the one of the rounds we played, we were playing against a team that wasn't very well equipped, and so we had 2 other robots that were really, really cool, and we just passed through the 3 robots, and we shot, and we made like 300 points or something ridiculous like that, while the other team made like 10. It was amazing to see that round. I was so incredibly happy. It was just shot after shot, round after round. It was awesome.
I remember when we made it to the playoffs at the Long Beach competition, that me, Kai, and Francisco, we had to bring all the tools to maintain the robot into the field area, and also we brought was just one little crate, while other teams brought like their entire pit, and we just seemed like left out. But it was really funny experience when we did that.
There's a lot of things in Long Beach that were extremely memorable. I remember one of the first ones was when we were on alliance with Dunkin' Dynamics and Beach Cities, and we got the highest score for that day, and it was pretty epic. Another good memory was actually winning the Imagery Award, because that was something we didn't expect until they actually kind of gave us hints, and we just didn't even finish listening. We just got up and just started screaming our lungs out. And then at the end of that day, we just started singing on the bus ride home.
Our drivers, they thought there was a button there to say, oh, that's a dead ball. But it turns out that was a kill switch for the robot. And so they actually turned the robot off for the entirety of the match.
I felt like even though our robot may not be the best robot there, or it may have some connection issues or whatever was going on at the time, I felt like, it was going to be okay. It was my last competition, and I was almost sure of that when we went in, but it was wonderful to see us go as far as we did and to do as well as we did, being my last competition.
I think what happened at Long Beach that showed me the most of how we succeeded was we had a new team. I think they're called the Street Bots, and they were a brand new rookie team, and their mentor was talking to his students, and they were by our pit, and they were saying, this is what pit needs to look like, this is what a robot needs to look like, this is what a good team looks like.
Two of the most amazing people I want to thank for being mentors is, first of all, Fazul for being an amazing mentor, helping us with pneumatics and helping us with any sort of system that we needed. And the second part was David. David was a very important person also for this opportunity this season. In FRC, two memories I find very funny. One about David. Whenever we would talk or whenever we would share comments, we would always playfully joke around with each other, and he would ask me to do something. He asked me to tighten up the pneumatics hose to it, and I told him I wouldn't because I just didn't want to. But we would play like that, and eventually I had to do it, and I would do it. Whenever he would say something, I would always contradict him and say that's not how you do it, even though I knew he was totally right and I was wrong. Another thing, Fazul is the most amazing mentor ever. He also plays around a lot too much. And one of the biggest things I think I remember from Fazul was also when we got the ball to actually shoot out from the launching system right from the ground, the first time we actually built the prototype, and he looked at me and he said, "Good job, good job." And he didn't even express anything else from that. He just looked at me and said, "Good job." And I looked at him, I was like, "That's it? I thought there was something else about it." And he's like, "No, we have to go test it, so yes." And I think that's the most funny part I remember from Fazul.
So I want to thank Tosado as one of our crucial mentors, because even though he had appendicitis and he had to struggle and go to the hospital and everything, he still persevered, came and helped put out our team, and then gave us all our advice, even though we had to redo the electronics board 3 times at least. And even though that was a big pain sometimes, in the end it worked out, paid off. So thank you.
I don't think it'd really be possible without all of our mentors. And one mentor in particular, Ted Dang, Ted, what he really brought to the team was especially an atmosphere of the students walking on the robot. And so I remember we were walking outside and drilling holes in the chassis for the catapult arm, and we realized that we had been drilling the holes at the wrong angle, and Ted just came up and said, "You're doing it incorrectly," and he just told us, "You have to go at a straight angle." And then he walked away. And we managed to get at a straight angle, and he actually showed us, this is how it's done. Instead of just doing it for us, he told us how to, and from that point on, all of those holes were straight.
So I want to say a very special thank you to Mr. Fazul. He has been instrumental in our growth as a robotics program, as a school, as a team, and I just really want to thank him. I love having him here. I was fortunate to meet him last year, and I was just glad to be in his presence. I feel like every time I had a question about something related to robotics or the rules or building something or designing something, he was always there to lend a hand, to encourage, and to really nurture the ideas that I had. And I feel like Fuzz is really good at that, and I feel like we've taken a lot from Fuzz. just by his being here. And so I definitely want to give a big thank you to Fuzz, especially with the bumpers, because he gave me a lot of crucial ideas for those bumpers. One super funny thing that happened when we were hanging out with Fuzz one time is it was really late at night, and we were the entire team was there, and we were working on testing out our two-ball autonomous for our robot. So we didn't work on this. The programmers have been working on programming this for quite some time. This is on a prototype bot, and the very first time that we got both balls to get through that goal, you just see Fuzz just burst into the air with this triumphant fist of glory, and he probably was wearing some super baby booster moon bounce shoes or something like that, because this dude jumped a cool 3 feet. It was intense, and it was just funny just to see the exuberance in his excitement, and I don't know, it just kind of put into perspective kind of us as a team, because the whole room went crazy once we saw both those shots go in. And so I think it was kind of a big culmination of who Fuzz is, and kind of just shows how excited and how amped he was for us and for our successes and for our future going forward. So thank you, Fuzz.
Thank Fuzz and Ted for mentoring this year. Fuzz provides sort of an optimistic view on things. He always said, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do the top, we're going to do the max, and it's going to work out. And he was really optimistic. And then Ted provided a more realist view, oh, we can scrap this if we need to, and we'll to get it done by the date that we need to get it done. And they contrasted to really produce a great final product and work with the kids really well.
I guess I want to say thanks, Fuzz, for actually helping us with programming a lot, especially since it was something that a lot of us we weren't really familiar with, especially sending us links and actually helping us with things that we didn't know about. And that's something that just made programming a lot more solid this year. Thanks.
The mentor that I would like to thank right now is Tostado. Through every class we had with him during EDD, every time I had a question or didn't know what to do, he was just like, "You'll figure it out." Originally that annoyed me because I felt like, you're my teacher, you should be helping me. But then I realized that, even though he was doing that, it helped me figure out things on my own and try to do things without the mentor's help. And that was really incredible for me to start taking initiative and doing things on my own.
Every year, I've always been plagued with actually trying to figure out vision processing. And I remembered one year, David Stewart, Tony's dad, actually sat down with me, and actually we walked through the whole vision code to try to figure out what was up with it. And that was something that actually helped me understand vision a lot more, and definitely something I really enjoyed. And I think if it wasn't for actually sitting down and walking through with me the different parts of that code, I probably wouldn't be able to understand it today. So, thank you.